Hi, my name is Gary Dillon, and I'll be presenting the argument that the United States was not correct in bombing Iranian nuclear facilities. This past June, the United States engaged in a bombing campaign of three Iranian nuclear facilities. This was because the Trump administration believed that Iran was pursuing a nuclear weapon and they were close to accomplishing that goal. The Iranian nuclear facilities in question are located inside deep underground bases, and they're known as Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. And Fordow, for example, is located 260 feet below ground. It's below dense mountains, which make it very difficult to target for an attack because they provide a protective layer, a natural defense. U.S. intelligence has known about these nuclear facilities for decades, and the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, inspected the facilities monthly to ensure they were meeting standards under the Comprehensive Safeguards Agreement. The U.S. has opposed Iran's nuclear program for a long time, stating that Iran was going to use it to produce nuclear weapons, which would be a threat to regional and global stability. Iran has countered by saying that they want a nuclear program so that they can develop renewable energy for civilian and medical purposes. The UN Secretary General condemned the attack, saying it was a dangerous escalation in a region that was already on the brink of wider conflict. Also, the UN Charter prohibits the use of force against another country except in cases of self-defense or collective self-defense, or unless it's authorized by the UN Security Council, which this attack was not. Engaging in unilateral military actions like this risk upending the rules-based world order because it sends the signal that larger countries can run roughshod over smaller countries without any intervention from the international community. Furthermore, after analyzing satellite imagery and intelligence reports, it came to light that only the attack on the Fordow nuclear site did enough damage to render the site useless. The other two nuclear sites, Natanz and Isfahan, did sustain damage, but not significant enough to render them useless. The Iranians could begin enriching there again in 2 to 4 months after they just complete some repairs. In the lead up to the attacks, defense experts cast doubt on the ability of the bunker busting bombs to be able to reach their target. We now know that they were only able to damage Fordow enough to render it useless, and the other two facilities can be up and running again pretty soon. And also, after the attack, now Iran isn't allowing the IAEA to monitor its facilities anymore, so we're completely in the dark as to where the Iranian nuclear program is. Ultimately, the attacks set back the entire program by 1 to 2 years, and I don't think impeding the Iranian nuclear program by 1 to 2 years is enough to justify a brazen violation of international law like this. And it just puts America on a path where we're set up for another conflict a year or two from now, when we want to decide if we want to attack them again, if they begin enriching uranium there. So it just sets up another question mark down the line. Obama struck a deal with Iran called the JCPOA, and the UK, France, and Germany were also involved with it. And the important thing about that was that it provided the framework for Iran to be welcomed back into the international community. Iran would have had to reduce the level of centrifuges that they were using for enrichment, increase international monitoring from the IAEA, and also manage their overall level of nuclear enrichment. Trump shredded that deal up in 2018, saying that the terms were too gracious to Iran, and that just put us on the path to where we are today with these most recent strikes. I think it would have been more beneficial to work with Iran and welcome them back into the fold with the international community the way that Obama and the JCPOA were attempting to do. And that's why I think that the US attack on Iranian nuclear facilities was not a good idea. That was all. Thank you.